The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
Hooray for Hollywood, where stars are living large, in mansions with their servants and their credit cards in charge, with fame that's fleeting, but the egos never change, where everyone's a genius, except the ones who really arrange. Hooray for Hollywood, where the scandals always sell, where every whispered secret is a new tabloid's tell. Oh, how we adore the endless red carpet galore. Hooray for Hollywood, where less is always more.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to a Rad Religion Broadcasting premiere podcast, Damn You Hollywood. And here's your host. In the underground, they refer to him as Frenchy Dirty Bum, but you can call him Robert Winfrey. Yay! Say hello, Frenchy.
That's a choice.
Do you not know the story of Frenchy Dirty? Actually, it's Frenchy Dirty Bomb, but I thought it would be funnier if your name were Frenchy Dirty Bum.
That would amuse you. Yes, I understand how your mind works.
So, it's a me and Jesse thing.
I'm not aware of the origin or the existence of this reference.
Yeah, it was. It had to have been one of the source materials, I think, is late. I don't remember exactly which show it was. I do a lot with Jesse, and I can't remember everything. But it was one of the more recent shows where we were doing our French voice, like ha ha, oui oui, oh Frenchy, ha ha, and one or both of us said, ha ha, Frenchy Dirty Bomb. And then of course Jesse ran to Suno, and then Jesse ran to Suno.ai and made a song called Frenchy Dirty Bomb.
Okay.
So, given the subject matter tonight, you are a Frenchy Dirty Bum.
Sure.
Come join our gay parade. By that I mean happy.
No, you didn't.
What are we talking about tonight, Frenchy?
Well, everyone, we're talking about one battle after another.
Yes, and I'm gonna...
Before you read this,
yeah.
Can we talk and you take us off the screen? Or do our mics automatically mute when we do that?
What is it that you really want?
This bothered me in the movie, and it's actually in the poster that you have up here, so I can bring it up, and I don't have to try and describe it.
Okay, so you want to... Well, I think I can put the poster on the screen if you want.
Okay, if you would, please.
Okay, give me a second.
Because this is one of those things that bothered me, because I'm me.
You are definitely you.
And with the image that you chose to use for this, I have the perfect opportunity. Okay. Actually, if we're just on the side, I can see it just fine. So.
Okay. Is there anything else I need to do for you, my love?
Okay. This image is taken from basically the climax of the film. We'll get to what it is in particular in a minute.
Uh-huh.
But here's Leonardo DiCaprio out with his gun, worried about being shot at because he just has come across a couple of dead bodies. Look where the bolt is on that rifle.
Yeah.
That's open. He's not shooting shit. That is literally, that may as well be a hunk of wood for all the good it's going to do him against a firearm with that in that position. And he just spends like 2 minutes in this theoretically tense scenario walking around with a useless hunk of wood because he's not actually smart enough as a human being to chamber the round.
I mean, in his defense, and I don't want to get too far ahead, he was very worried.
Hang on, my brother will appreciate. Look at that. Look at it. I'm supposed to take this guy seriously.
He was very worried about getting his daughter back from.
The armorer did him dirty.
Again, you can't say for certain that wasn't intentional on the part of Paul Thomas Anderson.
I can. I absolutely can.
This guy's kind of a burnout who has not slept and has trying to chase down his daughter and is just trying to get through the, so again, he's not like an active soldier or anything like that. He's kind of a mess in kind of a messy period.
I can tell you that it's a just straight up mistake.
Okay.
Because filmmakers do this all the time. The famous bridge shootout scene in Sicario, there's at least 2 scenes where we look at the guys holding their weapons in the vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the bolts are, these are, semi-automatic or automatic weapons, but as a safety precaution, when you're moving them around, even if they're not, loaded with live rounds, you keep the chamber open. Okay. And then they hand the gun to the actor with the chamber open, again, safety. And the actors don't know enough, or the director doesn't know enough to close that so it looks like the gun actually functions.
Do you really think this particular production still made it this far into marketing before anyone fucking noticed he's shooting an unshootable rifle?
Given who made this, yes.
Okay. Are you good now? You happy?
I laughed in the theater. I disrupted the other 3 people in the theater with me because this is supposed to be a tense scene, and I'm laughing.
I'm sure you didn't seem psychotic at all.
No.
Speaking of psychotic, Paul Thomas Anderson has always been a director.
Good segue.
Thank you. Obsessed with the fault lines in American life. Greed, obsession, power, and the fragile families we build around ourselves to survive it all. From Boogie Nights to Magnolia, There Will Be Blood to Phantom Thread, Anderson has returned again and again to the same images. Men, manly men, men in tights, who cannot stop digging holes in the ground. Men who can't stop trying to master one another. Men who cannot stop being alone. His films live in the tension between grandeur and intimacy, spectacle and silence. And with one battle after another, his loose adaptation of Thomas Pynchon's Vineland, Anderson finds a text that lets him marry all those obsessions with the raw paranoia of American politics. Pynchon's Vineland, published in 1990, is set mostly in Reagan's America, but haunted by the ghosts of the 60s. The story belongs to Prairie Wheeler, a teenager searching for the truth about her estranged mother, Frenessy Gates, a one-time radical who betrayed her comrades and slipped into the shadows under the protection of a federal prosecutor named Brock Vaughn, who might as well have been named Villain McBad Guy.
We'll get into the naming conventions later.
Yeah, the book is sprawling, funny, and deeply paranoid, obsessed with television, surveillance, betrayal, and the collapse of countercultural ideals. It is not a story that wants to be streamlined. It is all digressions and detours, full of minor characters who drift in and out of the narrative like static on a TV screen. Anderson, unsurprisingly, and to some would say frustratingly, doesn't try to capture all of that. Instead, he steals what he needs. He takes the skeleton of Vineland, authoritarian state power clashing with the remnants of a failed counterculture, and then rewires it into a story he knows how to tell. The story of a broken man and his family. In Anderson's film, Prairie becomes Willa, because of course she does. Frenessy fades into memory, and the center of gravity shifts to Bob, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, a washed-up radical turned hermit who is forced back into the fight when his daughter is taken by his old nemesis, Skeletor. Mumra. Lockjaw. A militarized, nightmarish reimagining of Pynchon's Brock Vaughn. What was once a daughter's quest to find her mother becomes a father's desperate struggle to save his child, and reckon with his own past and not load his gun properly.
True.
This change matters because it tells us something about Anderson's project as a filmmaker. He has always been more interested in flawed patriarchs than in children searching for answers. Sydney and Hard Eight, Jack Horner and Boogie Nights, Daniel Plainview and There Will Be Blood, Lancaster Dodd in The Master, Reynolds Woodcock and Phantom Thread. All of them are men defined by control, obsession, and an inability to truly love. Bob joins that lineage. He's Zoid Wheeler crossed with Weed Atman, a survivor of the 60s who can't stop being hunted by the compromises he made. In his failure to protect his daughter, he embodies Anderson's recurring theme, that every family, real or surrogate, is built on betrayal. For those of you really into nihilism. The other half of Anderson's project is power, not just individual power, but systems of power, authority, and control. This is why he was drawn to Vineland in the first place. Pynchon's novel is about what happens when the dream of the 60s is crushed under the heel of the state. When the counterculture is neutralized not just by violence, but by media, by spectacle, by the narcotic haze of television. Anderson keeps that intact, but it translates into his own register. Lockjaw is less a lawyer than a warlord, less the state than the idea of authoritarian power itself. His charisma, his menace, his ability to bend people to his will. These are Anderson's obsessions, straight out of Lancaster Dodd's playbook. Anderson's cinema has always thrived on repetition, cycles, motifs that echo across time. In Magnolia, coincides spiral into a plague of frogs, and Phantom Thread, sewing a dress becomes an act of possession and control. And There Will Be Blood, the oiled derrick is both creation and destruction. One battle after another inherits that language. The repeated imagery of rage, checkpoints, and the battles that never end. The title itself becomes the motif, a nation locked in confrontation after confrontation, a culture defined not by resolution, but by the endless churn of conflict. In this sense, Anderson's adaptation is true to Pynchon. Both believe that America is less a place than a state of paranoia, a story of betrayals without final redemption. If Vineland is about a daughter trying to understand her mother, one battle after another is about a father trying to hold on to his daughter. That shift makes the film both more accessible and more personal to Anderson, and only Anderson. It's easier to follow.
You criticize Wes Anderson as being like autistic.
They're all terrible.
The last name's Anderson. You got problems.
Easier to root for, but it's also in line with his lifelong obsession with fathers, mentors, and the children they cannot stop feeling. Who hurt you, Paul Thomas Anderson? Show me where. Never mind. The result is a movie.
Why didn't they continue?
The result is a movie that feels at once absurd and painfully intimate, a satire of American politics that doubles as a family tragedy.
No, it isn't.
So why did Anderson adapt Vineland? Shut up. So why did Anderson adapt Vineland this way? Because he wasn't interested in making a museum piece. He wanted to make something that spoke to now. He wanted Pynchon's paranoia, but he wanted it tethered to flesh and blood. He wanted a film that could be both political and emotional, epic and intimate. And like all of his best work, he wanted to show us men who dig and dig and dig until the whole swallows them whole. Arr. Yes, sir. So, what is your actual opinion of Paul Thomas Anderson? Are you getting like you were okay with him for a while, and now he's gotten tiresome?
Yeah,
because that's about where I am.
I'm not going to pretend he hasn't made some genuinely great films. He absolutely has.
There Will Be Blood is fantastic.
Yes, it is. And in many other years would have won the Oscar for Best Picture. Of course, There Will Be Blood also has the great benefit of casting two superb actors and letting them just do all the work.
So, for those of you who don't know who Paul Thomas Anderson is, you've heard us mention Boogie Nights already, Magnolia, Hard Eight. He's the monster that made Punch Drunk Love.
That he made Inherent Vice.
The Master, Inherent Vice.
Licorice Pizza.
Can we talk about Licorice Pizza for just a second?
By all means, unburden yourself.
I went to the theater on purpose to see Licorice Pizza.
It's always a great way to start a story.
And I walked out of Licorice Pizza, and I said to myself, am I supposed to like these people?
The Everglades are not that far.
Was I supposed to be rooting for these people? What was the point of this movie? What did Paul Thomas Anderson? What was Paul Thomas Anderson trying to tell me with this ridiculous story? Fast forward to Sunday, and we walked, and my son and I, my beloved son, my genius son, walked out of one battle after another. His sister did not see it with us. She was shopping for some sort of prom dress. And he looked at me and he said, Father, he called me Father. He said, Father, was I supposed to like any of these people? Who was I supposed to root for in this movie? Who was this made for? And I grabbed him by the shoulder and I drew him close to me and I kissed him on the forehead and I said, son, this is for radicals and other idiots. And he said, I understand that, Father, but what if you don't hate the government? And I had nothing after that. Paul Thomas Anderson is definitely one of these directors where he has a bee in his bonnet, and he is definitely one living inside the bubble where he thinks everyone thinks the way that he does, or that he's got some profound take on certain issues, and that once people hear his cry, they will come running to the battle. And I hate to tell you, his films are not, like, Boogie Nights might be the most accessible film he's ever made, and even that one has problems. Like, Sean and I reviewed that in the triple feature where I wanted to look at porn-adjacent movies. And I remember saying to Sean,
adjacent.
A movie about the porn industry should not be this inaccessible.
Look, Paul Thomas Anderson is the cinematic directorial equivalent of the people who go on Reddit and post their deep thoughts in like atheism or something like that. And like, no. Again, I'm not going to deny that he's made some good movies. He's made some very good movies. He really has. Unfortunately, he's batting about 2 out of 7.
Yeah. Like
when
I said,
you actually break it down.
There Will Be Blood is excellent. Licorice
Yes.
Pizza, I feel like, was a waste of film. I tried to get through The Master, but I watched it too late at night, and I'm sorry, Gavin.
You got to be in a special headspace to get through The Master.
Yeah. One of Gavin Napier's Casual Hero, favorite movie.
There's a lot good about it. And Philip Seymour Hoffman is great. Joaquin Phoenix is great. Like, watch There Will Be Blood. If you feel like it, watch The Master. Maybe if you feel like it, watch Boogie Nights. I'd actually rate Magnolia above Boogie Nights personally, but some of that might just be my dissatisfaction and apathy towards almost everyone involved with Boogie Nights.
So wrapping this up.
But yeah, oy vey, this guy just, his self-importance has done nothing but grow. Everything about him reeks of that like smug stupidity that the internet fosters.
Yeah. We'll get into the plot synopsis now, but I don't want to subscribe to the notion that it's the hope that kills you. So I do go into certain movies with a fair bit of hope. I am often more let down than not. And this was a letdown. You're a witness.
All right, so this 3-hour movie, not joking, we open 16 years in the past, which is to say the president, and everything else launches forward, I guess. See, because we follow a group of Antifa jackasses as they break into holding facilities along the southern border of California. And they're led by a strong black woman, because of course they are. And she strings along Leonardo DiCaprio because she hasn't yet reached the age of 25. And they break into this facility and free a bunch of people, and she sort of accosts Sean Penn, who's just being Sean Penn. And he becomes obsessed with her because...
strong black woman.
The script says so. And they bomb places.
Because the most special, most attractive, most talented, most intelligent people on Earth are black women. That is the message of this movie.
Whose names are not fit to be spoken in decent society. Then they rob a bank, and she shoots a security guard twice.
I know you're trying to get through your plot synopsis, and I'm not trying to be Alexis, but I almost walked out during that scene. Because you have the one woman pacing back and forth, going, "This is what black power looks like. This is what strong, feminine black power. Rob the bank or don't rob the bank, but stop doing performance art."
No one there cares. So several of them get arrested. Along this way, she also she agrees to a physical she's attached to Leonardo DiCaprio's character. She agrees to a dalliance with Sean Penn after he indicates that he could have arrested her and says, "I don't care if you keep blowing stuff up, but you and I should hook up." And she goes, "Yeah, I don't care about consequence or think beyond the next 5 minutes. Sure." They engage in this dalliance, and she gets pregnant, gives birth, and then, like so many women, goes, "Wait, there's a child, but what about me?" So this woman's
Accurate.
This woman's narcissism and postpartum issues lead her to abandon her family to the shock of absolutely no one. The whole group she's then arrested and convinced to break up their group, to give names. Everyone goes into hiding or gets shot. She escapes from witness protection and wanders into Mexico to continue the revolution.
And she is never heard from again throughout the rest of this feature.
We then jump forward 16 years, where her daughter and Leonardo DiCaprio are living somewhere in California, because everything's in California. And pretty much nothing has changed. He's now a little bit paranoid. She's a teenage girl.
And a lot high.
Yeah, he does a lot of the drugs and the alcohol and all that stuff.
I told Jonas that for Halloween this year, if he has to have a costume, he should play Bob from this movie. That way, all his costume is a bathrobe and a befuddled face.
Yep. Now, a couple of other things happen that kind of jumpstart what's going on here. Sean Penn is presented with an opportunity to join. I can't even say it.
The Christmas Adventurers.
I know what it is. I can't even bring myself
I'm helping you, asshole.
Okay. To join whatever secret society of white supremacists Paul Thomas Anderson.
Christmas Adventurers.
Whatever group of secret society, Freemason, Illuminati, white supremacist cabal Paul Thomas Anderson wakes up shrieking in the night about. They're coming to get me. They're coming to get me. And because he's going to die alone, there's no one there to comfort him. Anyway. He's presented with the opportunity here, and he knows that What's-Her-Face got pregnant and had a kid, and he thinks it might be his. But he also knows that these people would not look kindly upon that, and he would rather ascend their ranks because this is power and prestige.
They specifically say, "Have you ever had sex with a black woman? Because if you have, you can't be here."
Something to that effect. They ask him if he's ever been in an interracial relationship.
Well, sure, they're polite about it. All racists are polite.
Please roll your eyes harder, so I know you know what you're saying. Anyway, so he hires someone to try and track down a guy who got Leonardo DiCaprio and the daughter into hiding, so they can then track her down and he can figure out if she's his kid or not, because the reality is, if he had a weak moment and engaged in an act with a black woman, he can probably pass that off. I was young, I was stupid, I was curious. But if he had a kid, that really complicates the matter, doesn't it? Really, no, but because we're talking about dealing with idiots here. So he hires someone to track down this guy. He then gets him to give up where he sent them. He then fabricates an excuse to bring to bear the might of, and his position is never actually made clear, and it pisses me off because initially he's presented as a captain at this detention facility in military gear. Okay, I can buy that. Then when he is awarded the local Medal of Honor, not a presidential Medal of Honor, not a military Medal of Honor, whatever location they're in, here's your award. He's wearing police dress blues and then is promoted to colonel, which is not a rank in the police force. This bothers me.
I think in this fantasy world that Paul Thomas Anderson has created, the police and the military are one institution.
Ugh.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
Nothing about this makes sense, which is why I don't take it seriously. Anyway, so they show up there to arrest illegal immigrants, of which there are apparently a metric truckload, including Benicio del Toro, who is every mediocre karate instructor I've ever seen. God bless his acting job here. Almost gave me flashbacks. Good grief. So they show up. The daughter gets like picked up by one of the other members of the resistance and taken to a nunnery where the nude nuns with big guns hang out. Sorry, where the I mean, the only thing missing there was the nudity in this instance because there's nuns and they're heavily armed. Leonardo DiCaprio tries to escape being caught, falls off a roof, gets arrested, gets broken out by some helpful women. Benicio del Toro then helps take him towards this convent. Sean Penn gets there first. It turns out that this girl is in fact his daughter, and he's not happy about it, so he hired the same guy from before to kill her. And the guy goes, I don't kill kids, man. It's like, oh, come on, kids do bad stuff too. Like, yeah, sure, but I don't kill them. He goes, fine, will you take her to this place and these people and they'll do it? And he goes, yeah, sure. So he takes her to this place where the bad people will kill her and then dispose of her body somewhere out in the water, and she won't ever be found. And for some reason, this young girl who did nothing but curse at him and kick the back of his car during the entire drive sparks in him conscience. And he gets his last stand at the Alamo where he shoots a bunch of people and dies himself. Around this time, the racist organization contacts one of their cleaners and goes, yeah, we found out about what happened with old Sean Penn there. We don't like this. We don't like that he lied to us about it. Would you clean this up? And he goes, yeah, sure. So he drives up to Sean Penn on the highway, shoots him in the face with a shotgun. His car then flips over off of a cliff, not a cliff, off an elevated freeway position. It takes a tumble. Then Leonardo DiCaprio has gotten back. They drive past each other. He drives back to there. He finds that wreck and goes, oh no, I am bereft. I have no leads. I have no idea what to do. I will get in this car and drive the direction the plot tells me to, and this will conveniently be correct. So we get to the point where the daughter has escaped. She's driving in a car. The white power hitman is following her, and DiCaprio's following both of them. And because this is a strong, capable leader of the future, she devises a trap using the rolling hills of wherever they are in California and gets him to run into the back of her car while she's hiding to the side. She shoots him dead. DiCaprio wanders up with his useless rifle, and they reunite. They drive off. He gives her a letter from her mother, which I really hope he forged because that would be funny. And we are left to believe there is some modicum of hope for the future because this racially ambiguous teenager is here to save Gaza and lead us into the future of empathy and free borders, free bodies, and the utopia, Mark. The damn utopia. I hate this movie. I hate this movie so much.
Yes, so did Jonas. I've said this a few times recently. There are individual elements. I think I said it about Another Simple Favor. There are individual elements that I think are very well done about this movie. I will
I
will
agree with you
enumerate
there.
them. This movie is getting Oscar buzz.
It
There are
shouldn't, but it will.
there are things I think it deserves a nomination for. There are craft elements I think are some of the best I saw this year and
Oh,
deserves a
wait.
nomination.
I forgot one bit of the plot. It's important. So after being shot in the face by a shotgun at close range on the highway and getting
Oh
into a
yeah, you
Mad
can't
Max
forget this
wreck,
part. You can't forget this. This is about where the movie lost me completely.
Sean Penn survived all that, by the way, just so we can do a Holocaust reference when he goes and gets gassed and then incinerated.
Yeah.
I'm not joking.
Paul Thomas Anderson, really a victim of his own inability, his victim of his own lack of self-control. Anyway, as I was saying, there are individual craft elements that I think are very well done and deserve an Oscar nomination. This is not a Best Picture movie,
No.
nor is it a great story.
Nope.
I actually think Paul Thomas Anderson did, based on what I had just read earlier in the podcast, did not do the book any favors. This story, this is another one, kind of like Been Caught Stealing, or Caught Stealing, I think it was, and a few other movies I've seen this year. We are sold something in a trailer. Like, when I saw the trailer for this, I was getting How to Blow Up a Pipeline vibes. It's part of the reason why I wanted to see it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like that, or it's another one that's kind of like the trailer alone gave me like the right vibes. Like, oh, you know, former radical, some kind of former radical, Unabomber kind of guy with a kid, what do they call these, like wolf and cub stories where you have like the
Right.
jaded old guy and then the young kid. Like they're kind of classics for a reason. They cut the trailer very well to try and entice you to spend your hard-earned money and sit down for 3 hours and watch this crap.
So, that's not the story you get, though. The story you get is a long chase.
Yeah.
The cops take this guy's daughter. They try to take him. He goes after her. The villain is basically a parody sort of caricature of authoritarian state power. And he's all the bad things. He's a racist. He's a this. He's a that. And this is one of my big complaints about this movie and about Paul Thomas Anderson in general. I said this about Sinners, I think it was. Might have actually where I also said there are elements here, but the overall thing is not great.
Yeah.
It would be nice if Hollywood would tell a different story. They are obsessed with race. Over and over and over again, as if that's all there is to talk about. As if it's just the worst thing on the planet.
This is what happens when you're ideologically poisoned to see the world as nothing but systems of power, and the way that people have structured those. I mean,
look, there was an interesting story to tell here about the different kinds of ways of protesting power.
Sure.
And what works, what doesn't work. How radicalization might seem empowering, but is actually poisonous. There was all kinds of things they could have done with this movie. They did none of them. To the point where, why did they have to be radicals bombing things other than Paul Thomas Anderson kind of wanted to say, look, having an immigration policy is bad. Having closed borders is bad. We should have open borders and no rules and free love. Okay? Thank you, Paul Thomas Anderson, for your point of view. So, the story is not interesting. The characters are not likable. The characters are not interesting. They're not.
Nope.
The performances. Leonardo DiCaprio always hits it out of the park. Sean Penn always hits it out of the park. And if it were not for the two of them, this movie would be nigh on unwatchable.
Yep. I mean, even as it stands, let me just throw this out there. This is not even close to Leonardo DiCaprio's best work, not by a million miles.
Orthodox boomer grandma. Sounds terrible. Thanks for warning me off. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
That's what we're here for.
I'm also convinced this is just Sean Penn as Sean Penn, not Sean Penn acting.
All I could think about is his performance in Milk, where
He shouldn't have
and
won the Oscar that year. He really shouldn't have.
wasn't there another one where he got an Oscar and it was like he had I want to say what I think it is, but I don't want to aggravate people, believe it or not. And I'm trying to think of what Sean Penn movie I'm thinking of where everyone made a huge deal out of his performance.
There's a few. He won for Mystic River, which he deserved.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a deserved win. That was a 2-horse race that year between him and Bill Murray, and I was okay with him getting the nod. He plays a mentally retarded guy, and I phrase it that way because I'm not sure.
That's the movie I'm thinking of, and
I Am Sam.
That's the one. That's the one. Didn't they do a like a joke about that? Don't go full retard in Tropic Thunder.
Well, that's also related to like Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump, but
Okay.
yeah.
So Orthodox Boomer Grandma has a couple of comments here. We got that. We got what's a good Sean movie to watch. Hey, I like Bad Boys. I reviewed that earlier this year. If you want, how far back you want to go? Sean Penn's great in not American Graffiti. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. But if you want more of his dramas, I liked Milk. Also, the movie was good. I Am Sam, apparently. Mystic River, which the next
Mystic
comment was,
River.
loved
Yeah,
Mystic
Mystic
River.
River's
She's already
real
seen
good.
that one.
You going back in his filmography a bit, but if you don't mind the like drama of it, then Dead Man Walking, him and Susan Sarandon.
Let me get back to the craft elements here. So Sean Penn and Leonardo DiCaprio are, yes, as in Harvey Milk.
Groomer.
Shut up. Outstanding performances. They're kind of the only reason, other than the cinematography, they're kind of the only reason to watch this movie. Like, if you must watch this movie because you want to know what the Oscar bait is this year, fine. The way the movie is shot, the camera that they use, the VistaVision, the landscapes, all of that's good stuff. Performances, like I said, are good stuff. The screenplay, in the sense of like, and this is where I get a little fuzzy on how the Oscars work, but like, not the story. The story is subpar. The story sucks. The dialogue, the things that people actually say to each other, the way they are performed are all excellent, in my opinion. This movie tries to tackle some serious subjects, but because Paul Thomas Anderson can't get out of his own way, like bringing Sean Penn back to life after he's been shot in the face with a shotgun and driven off the road and have a car land on his fucking head, and he still gets up and walks back, and he's just got a little thing in his lip, and they gas him anyway. Like, I want to be clear about this because, like, the scene itself is whatever. It didn't bother me. You'd killed him once, and then you brought him back to life. He has no further imposition on any of the characters in the movie. He changes nothing, and you only brought him back to life because you have zero self-control and couldn't help yourself and wanted to do this scene, to which I have to ask, why did you kill him in the first place? Because you could have just as easily done this another way, and it wouldn't be this cartoonish. And that's my problem with this, is so much of this movie graduated to cartoony unnecessarily, which, again, I'm not above a silly movie. Have you seen the kind of stuff I've reviewed besides this movie? I review a lot of dumb shit. I like a lot of dumb shit. But don't do a movie this serious and then cut it with cartoon silliness. You can have moments of levity. Like, and I'll give you an example of stuff I did like that I thought was funny and I think actually added to the movie. Him not remembering fucking code speak 16 years later and them demanding he do it. I have been, not in that specific context, but I have been Leonardo DiCaprio, where you're just screaming at the other person at the other end of the phone because they won't work with you. and they're not acting like a human being. And it's like, ugh, I fucking hate you. Like, I've been Leonardo DiCaprio in that moment, like, where the person is not matching your sense of urgency. Does not seem to understand the context of the issue. So I liked all that stuff. Like, everything having to do with Leonardo DiCaprio working with the radicals, where he can't get the coordinates or get any cooperation because he can't remember things because it's 16 years later and he's burnt out. All that stuff is good stuff. Sean Penn started off okay. The stuff that Sean Penn was doing didn't bother me too much until he finally catches up with Willa, and even some of that didn't bother me because I just wanted to yell "Okay, Boomer," which is kind of what they were going for. And then everything after that was stupid, and it drove me nuts. They were like, I get that your point of view, Paul Thomas Anderson, and everyone who worked on this film is cops are bad, the military is bad, rules are bad, ethics are bad, morals are bad. Got it. Heard, acknowledged. But that makes your character rise to the level of cartoon villainy, and it undermines your argument. Because a good movie will make a good argument. Maybe not Robert Winfrey thinks will hold any weight, but fuck Robert Winfrey. The rest of the world will debate the merit of these ideas. And there's a good movie to be made about the ideas of what a world looks like when it's run by relativism. That's a movie I would be interested in watching. That's a perspective I'm at least interested in listening to.
That's the world we live in right now. It ain't great, let me tell you.
Heard, acknowledged. Go make a movie about it. My point is, go make that movie, but then you can't cut it with cartoon silliness. Your argument is then undermined. I can't listen. I can't absorb the argument you're making about relativism in a movie with cartoon villains in it. It's stupid. It's tonally incongruent, and that's a big problem I have with this movie. Like, Chris Owens was supposed to be on the show tonight, but he's got some medical issues, so he couldn't make it. But he was like, "I love this," and I'm like, "Yeah, speak in your language." And it's not. This movie in no way asks any important questions about any of its beliefs.
Nope.
It just fire hoses. It's everything about order and structure and power is bad. Fire hose. Fire hose progressivism. Fire hose liberalism. Fire hose leftism. All right. At some point, I'm done being soaked. I want to dry off and go home now. And that is all I got out of this movie is Paul Thomas Anderson invites you to sit in a chair and be soaked all over.
Please let me preach at you for 3 hours.
Yeah. So that's it. It's a beautiful looking movie, and it was as shadow as a puddle of piss. Your witness.
You enjoyed the performances more than I did. I don't think they're bad. I'll be very clear about that. But I heard some people do Sean Penn is like full psycho mode here before I saw the movie. And I watched it and went, no. Like, what? Okay, he's poorly written. He's, again, cartoonish in a role that really needs humanity. And so, no, that fails.
Needs nuance.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you folks, but really quick, there's a lot of talk right now among social media about how the left lost people, how the left lost the middle. And
I mean, celebrating political assassination will definitely do that.
They lost the middle well before that, but that's a great example. The left can't communicate its ideas effectively. You might think the right has bad ideas. Some of them are. I disagree with quite a few of them. Their ideas are communicated very clear. Doesn't really matter to me if you agree or disagree with them. You know what they are. They are as obvious as a speeding Mack truck. The liberals, the Democrats, the left can't really define their ideas anymore.
For the last, sadly, about the last 15 years, the sum total of their platform is not that guy.
Yeah, they are the party of multiplied by 0. That's it. That's all they do. And you get people either, well, I don't want to be a part of anything, or I'll be a part of the right. No one knows what they're getting with the left, so they don't want to be a part of that either. It is gobbledygook. That's kind of the left's platform right now. And why am I doing this? Because this movie, its examination of ideas, its motif, its themes are gobbledygook. It's essentially a child's tantrum, writ large, and shot beautifully. I cut you off, but I really needed to say that. Sorry.
No, you're exactly right. I'm with you. The cinematography is pretty good. The final chase sequence through those rolling hills, I think is probably the best stuff in the movie.
Yeah.
It's got some tension. It's got some weight. Well put together. Thumbs up there. Benicio del Toro does a good job in his role. He's a fine actor, but there's just so much nothing here. There's no substance to this, and it thinks there is, which makes it worse.
Yeah,
the sense of self-importance.
This is a pretty girl in first-year poli-sci telling you what she learned in class, like she already knew it.
Yeah, not even that pretty a girl. I mean, it's not bad, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The closest this thing gets to having a sense of self-awareness is when strong black woman shoots the security guard and everyone panics. Oh, you just committed murder for no reason. What are we going to do about this? Oh, crap, let's run.
That's the thing. The Dark Knight, silly as a movie as it might have been, the Joker goes in there and robs a bank. They actually rob the bank. They're in masks to hide their identity. And since nobody knows what or who the Joker is, he can go in and just face paint.
Well, he goes in a mask at first and then later reveals it's face paint, but yeah.
So they're all in masks. They're all hiding their identity. So far, so good. They rob the bank, and then they put the money on school buses, and then they join a collective of school buses in order to hide their escape. Okay. Even though the Joker there's a point that I'm making here. Even though the Joker did this as a bit of performance art, as a bit of fuck you to the mob, he still robbed the bank. And did it effectively. I don't know what they were doing here. Because if you're going to rob a bank, robbing it in broad daylight with your face showing is almost a guarantee you're going to get caught. And you might be saying to yourself, but Mark, why are you making a big deal about that? Because you're wanting me to believe this is real life and a real life look at the problems that this movie is trying to illuminate. Then you can't make the characters this fucking stupid. And if you weren't in there to rob the bank to rob it for money, you just wanted to do performance art, then her doing the catwalk saying this is what Black Power looks like is fine, but then what was your plan after that? And now here's Sean to say, man, crazy has no plan, except that they thought this through.
This was premeditated. This wasn't them walking down the street going, hey, let's do a robbery. Let's do this multiple felony.
That's the thing. It's
go commit felony murder and never see the light of day again.
It kind of reminds me of Joker Folie à Deux, where the movie can't make up its mind if it's supposed to be over the top dramatic or if it's supposed to be gritty realism. And I hate to tell you, that's tonal whiplash, and you can do both, but you have to actually know what you're doing, and there's no indication he did here.
There's no examination of the strong black female character who abandons her family and is then sainted. DiCaprio goes, no.
It's fucking like Scarlet Witch. They'll never know what you gave up. You kidnapped a whole town. What do you mean?
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
So that's impossibly stupid.
it would be nice if, on both sides of the political aisle, just to be fair, if we would stop lifting up morally reprehensible as iconic.
Would be nice.
Anyway, I cut you off like 5 times. Go ahead.
Yeah, this. If I'd been seeing this on my own time, I would have walked out after 5 minutes and demanded a refund. Like, it's that bad. It didn't get any better. This is, again, self-important, self-serious, full of not only unlikable characters, but uninteresting, unlikable characters.
Leonardo DiCaprio has no regrets.
What
And
a
he has no self-examination of the thing he believed. Like, why are you the mad bomber? What bombs at midnight? Do you regret being a bomber? Do you wish you could still be a bomber? Did you feel like I would have continued to be a bomber, but I had to be a dad? Because they kind of touched on it and then ran away from it screaming.
they did, like, again, the briefest one when he said, when like she's getting ready to leave,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "What are you doing? The revolution." He's like, "No, you stupid. We've got a kid. We're a family. This is more important than your wish casting and political violence and acts of domestic terrorism. How about you focus on raising someone that actually contributes to society instead of deciding that you're going to march through the streets shouting your name?"
Can we also talk about how utterly unnecessary all the sex was in this movie? Like, again, Paul Thomas Anderson's fascination with strong black women as just the most sexual, sensual, wonderful thing on earth. Like, I'm all for people's fetishes, I really am, but you're asking the audience to go with you on this, and maybe some of us have different tastes.
You know, there's a few shots in this movie where the male gaze is in full effect, and no one's going to say anything about it.
Yeah.
Look, there's a couple of times when Sean Penn is spying on her from a distance with binoculars. Like, okay, fine, he's a pervert. We all that tracks. Some of your particular shot framing for other sequences, without the excuse of you're supposed to be looking through the eyes of this reprehensible cartoon villain, is just you deciding that I'm going to put this actress's butt front and center because I like it. And you're the same kind of jackass who'd say, "I don't know, man,
Yes.
Tarantino and feet."
I was fuck. You beat me to it. I was just like, when everyone gets pissed when Quentin Tarantino does it with Uma Thurman's feet, or what's her face, the other girl you love, Margot Robbie.
I mean, he does it with a lot of them because he's
Those
got
two
a
in
foot.
particular.
Yeah. Well, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, mostly because his longtime editor had passed away before that one, and she consequently wasn't there to tell him, "Okay, this doesn't need to be this long, buddy." The restraining hand on his eccentricities and excesses was gone.
Yeah.
Very clearly. So, yeah, there's all of that, and again, this is a movie who just like believes that everything it's saying is so self-evidently true that all it has to do is say it louder. So, yeah, oh no, they're illegals, but look, they're all just families. They're all literally women and children.
What a waste this movie is. What an opportunity to say something about immigration, legal or otherwise, and it says nothing.
I mean, look, if we're going to touch on immigration, let me say this very briefly. The United States has not had a re-examination of its immigration policies and like numerical quotas and whatnot since the 90s. We got to look into that. Like, that really does need to be examined. And there's a lot of evidence that shows that immigration, as a general rule, is a net positive. That is not an excuse to say, okay, literally everyone come in here. Because
if Paul Thomas Anderson and a lot of people on the left, their whole thing is the rise of Trump and his speaking to the beleaguered masses that you've lost your country to the immigrants and I will return it back to you, which was a lie. He knew it was a lie, but it was an effective lie because it got him elected to president twice.
Well, the first time that was less of a point his second time around, but yeah.
Potato. But then go ahead and talk about that. The movie doesn't. The movie just kind of shows you. The movie just kind of shows you, what do you call it? Essentially, like concentration camps, and goes, "Look, they're bad. See, they're bad. The existence of them is bad.
Look at all these children that just want to be happy and free. Oh, so who are you going to turn them over to? I don't know. Put them on a bus somewhere. There's people who will pick them up. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Considering
people have asked me like why I don't do like PC Live anymore, because of people like Paul Thomas Anderson. I got tired of arguing with people like that and got tired of being told that I'm wrong when they don't have a coherent counter argument.
No, again, the notion is just everything I'm saying is true self-evidently, so all I have to do is say it louder and then insult you. And
Right.
This is how debate works. This is how discussion works, because I am the main character and this is...
I'm the protagonist.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Look, yes, there are just women and children and families looking to come to the United States for a better life. Absolutely true. If you want to pretend that the opposite is not also true, that there's a lot of really bad actors, criminals, doing the same thing, then you're not actually having a discussion. You're fantasy casting your pathetic worldview and refusing to actually look at the data. I'm all for, again, a re-examination of what immigration in this country should look like, because it needs to be re-examined. I'd like to think we could all also get on board with the notion that there's a certain kind of individual that we don't want over here. You're leaving someplace. You're trying to get away from someplace bad, and for some reason, then you get here and decide you want to make it like the bad place that you left. Morons.
Which again would be great if any of that were in the movie, but it's not.
1,000,000%, but of course not. It's just the Underground Railroad and Benicio del Toro as Latin ninja master Harriet Tubman.
Which sounds like something a child would make up.
This whole stupid movie.
It's like if Peter Griffin directed a movie with his thoughts about immigration.
After he looked up what immigration was, sure. That's pretty close.
Anyway, nominated for Best Cinematography, nominate Leonardo DiCaprio and Sean Penn for...
Don't nominate them.
For performance awards, and then be done with this movie.
Cinematography, yes. I could get behind, like, sound design, too.
Sure.
But that's about the extent of it. I'm with you. Like the rest of this, no, I wouldn't even nominate DiCaprio or Penn personally, but unless you give them a pity nomination, they certainly shouldn't win anything.
All right. With that said, let's
Paul Thomas Anderson, he jumped the shark a while ago and hasn't realized it yet. Please go away.
Speaking of go away, here comes the money.
We're in the money. We're in the money.
Yes, now. Some fun now, hot damn, ain't we having some fun now? Yes, ma'am. All right. One Battle After Another was the #1 movie of the weekend. And Gabby's Dollhouse was the #2 movie of the weekend, knocking Demon Slayer down.
More on that later.
3. 1 to 3. The Conjuring 3 to 4. The Strangers Chapter 2.
What a terrible idea that was.
That debuted at 5. That looks like it's probably not going to make any money. Him dropped from 2 to 6.
72% drop from a soft opening. It deserves every bit of the fall.
The Long Walk dropped from 5 to 7. Downton Abbey 4 to 8. I guess Fathom Event did the Spider-Man trilogy, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, and that debuted at number 9.
Good for it.
Big Bold Beautiful Journey, who apparently is bombing hard, fell from 6 to 10.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Margot Robbie, not a draw.
Dead of Winter debuted at 11. Eleanor the Great debuted at 12. Hey, the 50th anniversary of the Rocky Horror Picture Show debuted at 19. Wildfire, The Legend of Cherokee Ghost Horse. That debuted at 25. Strange Journey, The Story of Rocky Horror. Weird. That debuted at 26. And The Ugly debuted at 32. And that was the weekend that was worldwide. Not a lot of movement. However,
I feel like this hasn't been updated.
well, Demon
Anyway.
Slayer passed Mission Impossible and the Fantastic Four.
Demon Slayer's gonna surpass Superman probably next weekend. And that tickles me to no end.
So right now the top 10 is Ninja, Lilo and Stitch, Minecraft, Jurassic World, How to Train Your Dragon, F1, Superman, Demon Slayer, Mission Impossible, and Fantastic Four. The Conjuring moved ahead of Captain America
And Thunderbolt.
and Thunderbolts.
Uh,
Poor Sinners is down to 14 now. Weapons,
no,
which is also
dude,
getting
Sinners is just fine. It's a good profit. It'll get a bunch of Oscar noms because
yeah,
of course it
I'm
will.
not complaining. What do you call it? Weapons is also getting Oscar buzz allegedly, and that's at number 16 with 264 million,
All
which
right.
made more than Snow White at 205.
Snow White. Golly.
Snow White.
You know what? As we close in on the end of the year, can we just be honest that this year sucked out loud going to the movies? There's been
Yeah.
a few bright spots, but on balance, this has been a pretty bad year.
Yeah, your whole thing about like what's going to end up being in the top 10, just because there's not a lot to pick from, or what's going to end up being like an Oscar nomination. Yeah, it's going to be when we do the year in review and then the Oscar show. It's going to be real interesting to see like what things finally look like. I honestly don't have a whole lot else to add here. This weekend coming up. We're out of the doldrums of September and August. We're into the holiday season of movies, which starts with October. So the lineup looks like this. We're starting off with The Smashing Machine. Then we
starting off the next run of interesting movies with a small indie biopic about a niche fighter in a niche sport.
Then we go into Tron Legacy, which is like the big movie of
On
October.
Aries, but yeah,
What did I say?
Legacy.
Sure. The Black Phone 2, which looks fucking terrible.
Oh god, is there anything else on that day that we can review?
We lost Mortal Kombat this year, so instead, and I don't know if I
Avoided, Mark. Avoided.
So there's a Hand That Rocks the Cradle remake that's going on, I think, Hulu.
Oof.
So you and I are gonna do an on trial instead.
Are we
compare-
really?
Yes, we are, Bibby. We're gonna do the
Okay.
Hand That Rocks the Cradle, 1992 versus 2025. I'm sure that'll be just fun for all involved.
That's one way to phrase it.
Shut up. And then we skip another week, and we're gonna do an on trial for Bulworth because I want you to see it.
Yeah, you've mentioned you are going to enjoy the severe emotional distress that's going to inflict upon me.
We all have our fetishes. Mine's torturing you. And
Said repeatedly. Are you okay?
am I okay?
Yeah, like you've brought up, we've all got our fetishes like 4 times this one
No.
podcast. Are you okay?
Am I ever okay? So then we have Predator Badlands, then the Running
Oof.
Man remake,
Yeah.
then finally the movie you've been waiting for all year, Robert, Wicked Part 2, then Zootopia 2. Ugh.
Can we just not?
And then Five Nights at Freddy 2.
Once
Jesus.
again.
And then finally we get to the Guillermo del Toro Netflix Frankenstein. That'll be December 15th. And then
Avatar the
Fire,
week after that.
then Avatar, Fire and Ash, and we're skipping Anaconda because I'm being dragged to Cleveland.
To where?
Cleveland.
I'm sorry.
In the dead of winter.
Cleveland sucks at the best of times. What are you doing?
Yeah, saying yes to things I should have said no to. All right. Unless you got anything else, I think there was something you really quickly wanted to say about Demon Slayer.
Just the fact that it's probably going to surpass Superman very shortly amuses me to no end. The fact that this anime movie of installment into
the third feature from this franchise, the third animated theatrical feature.
The third or the second? Oh no, this is Infinity Castle, right? So I think that would make it the third. To double check.
Mugen Train was first, right? And then there was one that I swear to God I thought there was one after Mugen Train.
I don't think so. I think they went because I think they did Mugen Train and then this was the next one. I don't know. I'll double check. Doesn't matter.
I'm gonna do it now. Say what you gotta say.
But the fact that that movie is probably going to beat every comic book superhero movie for this year means that, and the fact that Hollywood's big takeaway from this is going to be not let's revive 2D animation, but let's do a live action Demon Slayer starring Tom Holland is just sad on so many levels.
All right, so compilation films. We have Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba to the Swordsmith Village and Demon Slayer to the Hashira Training. And then you have the actual films, which are the Mugen Train and Infinity Castle. Okay, so it's the second one, not the third one.
So yeah, just the second big theatrical one. And yeah, it's looking like it's going to, again, surpass Superman probably. And again, the fact that the big takeaway is going to be, let's do a live action Demon Slayer instead of let's revive 2D animation, make it serious, is just sad on so many levels. But people responsible for this stuff are idiots.
All right, with that said, our final part of the show, the critical
everyone's
review. What now?
They're going to be falling all over themselves to praise this piece of crap.
Oh, wait till you see the scores.
Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Not a serious person in the critical space. Not a one.
Not one.
96% on the tomato meter and 85% on the fan meter. And if we examine this a little bit closer,
what's going to go up?
Top critics is 95. All critics is 96. Verified audience is 85. All audience drops it to 77.
Let's be fair. There's a bunch of the all audience that's just like, what the man?
Yeah. An epic screwball adventure. What is this, a Mel Brooks movie? An epic screwball adventure teeming with awe-inspiring action set pieces. What the fuck? One battle after another is Paul Thomas Anderson's most entertaining film yet. Also one of his most thematically rich.
No. Every bit of that is wrong.
Brooke Obie of Black Girl Watching says, one fetish after another. Paul Thomas Anderson's empty foray into revolutionary ideology and iconography hypersexualizes black women. Ha ha! See, you think it's just me and that I'm racist, but the black chick agreed with me. Ha ha! Black women are amazing. Leaves much to be desired and simply refuses to end.
You know, I didn't mention this before. If I wanted to say one other good thing about this movie, it actually does have a good sense of momentum, so it doesn't feel quite as long as it is.
Peter Kyo of Arts Fuse. Anderson seems to be taking on some of the most divisive issues of our time, but only to exploit them.
Never mind. Hey, look at that idiot. Scroll back up. No, it was the one right above the thing before you clicked on it. There he is.
From the
Go
Bangkok
a little more.
Post?
Go down a little more. I think it's like the next one. Yeah, there he is, of the Arizona Republic.
This whole movie is amazing. I don't watch movies.
You're so desperate to suck up to a non-existent cadre of people that, again, you see Paul Thomas Anderson and you think, I have to take this so seriously and give it a good review. Otherwise you won't be taken seriously as a film reviewer because he's such a serious filmmaker. We can't look at it. Oh, God, just put your bottom lip over your head and swallow.
Speaking of black women, Sarah Vincent of Sarah G. Vincent Views.
For the audio-only listeners, this is not a black woman.
What do you mean?
I don't know. It doesn't look like it on my screen.
Dude?
Nope, okay.
Fuck?
No, my mistake.
Gee, beasties. Oh, what
My mistake. You had a better angle. You had a better view of the small thumbnail than I did. My mistake. My apologies.
One battle after another is elevated Roland Emmerich with a Hallmark message that may wind up like Civil War, much lauded and enjoyed around opening weekend, but forgotten during award season. Oh, lady.
Forgotten immediately, but she's not wrong saying this is just Roland Emmerich and Hallmark. It's my favorite mashup now.
Let's see. Oh, look, it's Nick Johnston of Vineland. It's all very surface level Pynchon, as beyond the premises outline, the funny names, the conspiracy element, and the pop culture allusions, it feels like an imitation without the substance.
Boy, ain't that... You hit the nail on the head there, sir.
Uncle Malty says,
how are you still alive?
This is a difficult film to describe or synopsize.
No, it isn't.
It's easy to recommend, however, so long as you know you're
isn't.
about to watch an appropriately R-rated movie where nothing is sacred. Oh my God, sir.
The sacred cows of modern day political progressivism are ever present here and never to be touched. Shut up. Somebody put Leonard Maltin back in the home.
Speaking of which, Soul Brother, Black Robert Winfrey, Armand White of National Review. Anderson's title lacks Pynchon's pith, but daydreams a culture of never-ending political obstruction and pandemonium. It is the year's most irresponsible movie. Oh, boy.
I'm struggling to think if I got to think about whether or not he's wrong about that. I mean, look, the following is not the fault of this movie, but to release this, like 2 weeks after, like 2 or 3 weeks after a major political assassination of a podcaster, while Portland is almost on fire, some bad timing, man.
Carlos Ballero of El País, Spain. One of the most foolish and unbearable films of the year, a delirium without cause stretched to such an exhausting length that even sitting still becomes a challenge.
God bless you, sir.
Oh, yes, now. Resident black woman, Aisha Harris of NPR, top critic.
Which totally deserves your money.
It won't be an escape from the awful, absurdist realities we're living with now, but will serve as a reminder that Anderson knows how to make a damn good movie.
You will never think about this movie or watch it again. I guarantee it.
First of all, that chick has never seen a Paul Thomas Anderson movie before.
Please watch Boogie Nights and get back to me. You missed Kurt Loder. He was up there.
Did I? Does anyone really miss Kurt Loder?
Well, I'm reloading, but maybe next time.
Hey, that's irresponsible.
A little bit, yes. You just missed him again.
I know, I don't really want to read him. My girlfriend's yelling at me for the crack about Cleveland. I got to tell her I was doing a bit.
So you got to lie to your girlfriend.
Shut up. She might still be watching. Cleveland rocks.
No, it doesn't. And of all the terrible things Drew Carey's ever done, that song is definitely up there.
I don't know. I didn't love him in the Royal Rumble.
He was funny. Knew how to eliminate himself. Like he knew what was up.
All right. Resident Unloaded Gun, Travis Hobson of Punch Drunk Critics. This will be the last one. You won't find another movie this year that feels so alive, so essential, so charged with power of love and revolution. Sir, you are the Mongo of fucking critical reviewers.
Mongo only pawn in Game of Life.
I am easily amused. Mongo-like movie about important stuff. I'm going to tell Jesse about this, and he's going to make another song about it that I'm going to steal.
Okay.
Did you not catch the whole cereal thing?
No, I think I missed that one.
Jesse's son we've nicknamed Mongo because he's really tall and kind of beefy. So therefore we must, as adult men with our own children, have to abuse this poor child. So we nicknamed him Mongo because Jesse is amazing. Jesse goes along with it. So Jesse's son is Mongo. He knows he's Mongo. Well, Mongo went to go make cereal. He went to go have a bowl of Fruit Loops. And something happened, unfortunate, and all the cereal went on the floor. And Jesse, being a responsible, loving, and empathetic parent, ran down to his computer and wrote a song about it.
We've all been there, man.
And then he put it on social media. And Robert Cooper, who is not a fan of AI music, or ChatGPT for that matter, said, I need 15 minutes. 15 minutes went by, and he came back with lyrics, rewritten lyrics, to a song called I Dropped My Cereal. And I said, give me 15 minutes. And I went back to Suno.ai and released it as a Fra Diavolo single. It'll be out this weekend.
Okay.
There is a video. Have you not seen the video for it? Hang on. Let me show you the video.
Please. Need something good to come out of this.
This is not the Metal Hammer of Doom Extra, folks. But here is...
But it could be.
The debut. The national, worldwide debut of I Dropped My Cereal by everyone's favorite band, Fra Diavolo. And here we go.
Like lifesavers.
That's Mongo. At least as the AI decided to make him.
Terrible. That does not look like dropping cereal.
I dropped my Fruit Loops right onto the floor. But now Mongo's sad and he wants some more. Why did my dinner plans have to go south? Mongo wants more loops in Mongo's mouth. I dropped all my cereal down on the floor. I dropped all my cereal more.
So what, he's reached middle age now?
That's supposed to say dinner time, by the way. But this particular video maker does not do language very well.
Doesn't do a lot of things very well.
Dinner plans that included breakfast. Now I've got crumbs and quite a mess. Drop all my cereal down.
There's an acoustic bit in the middle of this.
I don't understand this one either.
What I wouldn't give to have back my fist. It takes lots of loops to make mine go, please.
Now he's the great Khan. Like
Mongo is evolving throughout this bit.
now he's a chimpanzee again. Caesar.
There goes more cereal. 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 There goes more cereal.
That was an orangutan.
Marvelous.
Okay.
That made me very happy.
I'm glad you're happy.
Thank you. People don't support my art. It makes me sad. I know you know how that feels. I know you know how that feels because no one supports you either.
Well, now I'm tempted to say something very depressing, and I'm going to choose not to.
Wonderful. And I've tempted to say something depressing is the phrase that pays here on Damn You Hollywood. So that's the end of our show. Well,
Notice how we don't choose not to as a part of the general rule. We just say the depressing, intrusive thoughts out loud.
Speaking of depressing and intrusive thoughts, yesterday myself and Jesse looked at both A Simple Favor and Another Simple Favor on the long
Neither
road
of which were simple.
Wednesday,
I feel like those titles are misleading.
Wednesday, I'm allegedly going to review Upload Season 4. And then Thursday, myself and Kat and Sean are going to review, do a Michael Mann director focus on Triple Feature. We're looking at Ferrari, Heat, and Collateral. Next week, myself and Sean on Sunday night will be doing an on trial for Tron Legacy. We've already done the original Tron movie. We're back here on Damn You Hollywood with The Smashing Machine. And then
Mongo Smash.
And then Wednesday, in theory, Alexis and I are threatening to do Monster Season 3. Thursday, myself and Sean again will be doing an on trial for Maximum Overdrive, which I have wanted to do for years. I have never seen it. I've only seen like the posters of it, and I've wanted to give myself a reason to. So I was like, I've been wanting to do Maximum Overdrive for like the last 2-3 years.
You must record yourself watching that movie. Like TikTok live it if you have to.
Okay.
Because it's so bad.
I will do that. I will TikTok live my first watch of Maximum Overdrive.
There was a shortage in the national supply of cocaine that year just because of how much Stephen King did while directing this.
Wonderful. What do you got going on in your neck of the woods, Toots?
Nothing good.
Wonderful.
So I cover mixed martial arts and professional wrestling over at 411mania.com, WWE SmackDown on Fridays, UFC events on Saturdays. So last Saturday was UFC on ESPN Plus 118. They were in Perth. The card was not good. There were legitimate, like, mainstream news stories about how bad the ticket sales were for that event. So they cut them dramatically so that you could actually have, a crowd for your fights. Which is a novel idea for the UFC these days. And it was, again, not a very good event. Main event was relevant. Carlos Ulberg's pretty much, barring very strange set of circumstances, should get the next shot at the light heavyweight belt. No one cares because that division is deep fried ass. And somehow not the worst division in the sport, which is just pathetic on levels that I don't think I'd ever... So bad. Anyway. Speaking of the pathetic division, this coming Saturday is UFC 320, headlined by the rematch between Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight belt. I don't care.
I might go TikTok live for that.
God bless you if you do. I'll be covering it, so you know where to find me. Co-main event is actually a good fight. Merab Dvalishvili and Corey Sandhagen for the bantamweight belt. And you'll have a probably enjoyable sloppy donk fest between Yuri Prochazka and Khalil Roundtree. So that should also be at least moderately entertaining. If you want a full preview, listen to the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast, where I talk about the wide, wacky, wonderful world of mixed martial arts and adjacent combat sports. And, I didn't talk about what happened to Vanderlei Silva, and I probably should have. But that's just going to be sad. You see what happened, Mark? He was supposed to have so first of all, Vanderlei's like almost 50. Was supposed to have a boxing match with Vitor Belfort, because that's the state of boxing. Belfort withdrew for whatever reason. So in steps a retired former world champion, his name escapes me, who weighed like 160-ish for this fight. Vanderlei's like 200 pounds. Because they threw this together at the literal last minute, no one cared. Then Vanderlei is disqualified for headbutting, which he did repeatedly. Then there's a post-fight brawl, and Vanderlei gets knocked completely unconscious.
That's embarrassing.
Broken orbital bone. I can't even laugh about it at this point because the man went on record when advocating for the acceptance of the settlement from the last UFC antitrust lawsuit to say, boy, I've got bad CTE and could really use the money that I will get from this, and then proceeds to have a boxing match, get knocked out, break his face, and just add more brain damage to an already seriously traumatized brain. It's a race to see who is going to be MMA's Chris Benoit at this point, and the clubhouse leaders are BJ Penn and Vanderlei Silva, and I am not happy about it.
Yeah, that's a sad situation right there.
So, yeah, I didn't talk about that one a whole lot, but so yeah, that's what I got this week. I'll get to talk about the announcement that Zuffa Boxing has a home on the Paramount family of networks, while they still try to force through their bespoke legislation to destroy the Muhammad Ali Act. You and I might have to talk about that at some point, Mark, just because I know you're actually interested in the business of how that works. So,
okay, let me know when, and we'll.
Well, again, if you're interested, I don't need another. I have got a place to ramble about it when I feel like rambling about it, but
We can talk about it. All right, folks, that is our beleaguered podcast for Robert Winfrey. I have to figure out what I
have to find a reason to go on after this terrible movie.
Really. I need a reason. No, I have a reason. I have 7 more years of a reason. So
that's an oddly specific number.
Yup. All right.
Yeah, your kid's 11.
Uh-huh.
Your youngest is 11.
Now you're catching on, Tootsie. All right. So for Robert Winfrey, I have to figure out what I'm going to talk about tomorrow on TikTok. Be well, be safe, and behave.